Hello everybody, this is Julio and I'm super excited to do this video for you. I learned a ton during summer school and doing synchronous learning, and I want to share some of the tips and features in Zoom with you that's going to make your life a lot easier and maximize student engagement. This is going to be a jam-packed video. I'm going to be touching on how to improve your sharing, how to use the annotation tool and the built-in whiteboard in Zoom, how to use your cell phone as a document camera, how to create breakout rooms, how to do spotlight video, and just a few daily routines that helped me every day as we did this. I'm going to include all the timestamps in the description in the videos so you can click on the different sections and just skip on ahead if you want to do that. But with all that said, let's get started. Let's start with the share screen option in Zoom, and this one is really huge because during summer school, I found out that some of my students were in my Zoom class using their cell phone or maybe a smaller laptop or a tablet, and that is a very tiny screen, and you also have to consider their internet connection, that maybe the stream of your video is going to be really low quality. So when I found that out, I had to reconsider how I was sharing my screen. So I want to show you a few ways that you can go into your document, make it larger, make sure that everything that you're trying to show your kids is blown up big, and front and center for them to see. Let's start with a Google Doc. A Google Doc here, you can see that it's full screen, you know, in my screen, but it's right in the center. It's not really big. But in Google Docs up here, you have a zoom option here on the top left. You click on that and you can go all the way up to 200%. Now on your screen, it might be large enough, but if it's not, you can always go to your browser here on the top right and zoom in a little bit further to make it a lot larger. If you are in a Word document, it's found in a different spot. If you go all the way to the bottom right, here you'll have the little zoom option here. You can click the plus, and Word will allow you to go further than 200%. And so you can keep going, and if it's text, it's not going to lose its quality. It's going to look sharp and clean. If you have some images, they might look a little bit blurry, but try to look for maybe some high quality video or high quality images that'll make it a lot clearer when you make it larger. Also, up here on the top, sometimes maybe your editing buttons and options here are shown. If you click on the tab that you are on, again, it'll just disappear. So that'll give you a little bit more real estate. If you are on a PowerPoint, this is the editing mode in PowerPoint, and this is not always the best way to sort of present or show your students the PowerPoint. You want to make sure that you're in present mode and it's full screen. And in PowerPoint or Microsoft PowerPoint, the way you find that is if you are on your menus up here. Right now it's in home. You want to go all the way to slideshow, and then you have two options. You can start the slideshow from the current slide that you are on or go from the beginning. When you click on that, everything is in full screen. And the way you scroll through all of this is if you use the arrow keys on your keyboard. You can go forward, you can go back, just like that. And if you want to go back to the editing mode, you press escape, and then you're back to normal. If you're on a Google slide, it's going to be very similar. Again, this is the editing mode, and you can tell because in the background here I have where it says click to add title. And that could be very cluttering and very confusing for the kids. So you want to make sure that you are in present mode because it'll get rid of all of that and it will just show the image. So up here on the top right where it says present, click present. And then everything should be in full screen. All the editing text boxes will disappear. And just like Microsoft PowerPoint, the way you go to the next slide is using your arrow keys on your keyboard. To go forward, to go back. You press escape on the keyboard to go back to normal. And if you're using a PDF, the way you find the zoom options here is up here right in the center, top center. Here you can go really, really high. You can also click the button next to it and just fit to the width scrolling, and that'll just zoom in to the width of your screen, and that's just a really fast way to doing it. And this is going to work really well if you're using the annotation tool. And this is front and center and clear, and it's going to be as big as you can make it for those kids that are using a smaller screen. What if you're using a YouTube video? This is just a normal view in YouTube, but if you notice, there is video suggestions on the right. There's also maybe some comments on the bottom. Maybe you don't want to show any of that. So when you're presenting a video on YouTube, make sure that you go full screen by clicking the full screen button found right here. And that'll make sure that everybody is watching everything the video has to show in full screen, and they don't have to worry about any of the mess on the right or the comments on the bottom. So make sure that you do the full screen. Let's talk about the annotation and whiteboard tool in Zoom. Here I have a PDF that is open, and I'm going to use the annotation tool to write on it. If you have a stylus or any means of writing, maybe you have the Lenovo laptop that has a touchscreen, this might be easier for you, but there is another way to type that's going to be helpful if you don't have one of these. So up here, when you're sharing, you'll know you're sharing because you have this green thing that says you are sharing screen. You'll have this menu pop up, and here you'll see the little pen or pencil that says annotate. Click there. After you do that, it opens up this other menu, and here you have text, draw, and format. These are the more useful ones, but I'm going to use my stylus. I have draw. I can go to format and change the color. I can change the thickness of the stroke. And after you do that, you can just start writing. If you don't have a stylus, you can use the text feature here. So I'm going to click on text. And when you do that, wherever you click, it creates a text box. So if I click here, and then I could just type. Also, just like the pen tool, you can change the color. You can change whether it be bold or italic. You can change the point size. You can resize the text box, and you can also move it. And you can create as many text boxes as you want. Another feature in the draw is that you can create shapes. So you can create a square or a circle. So for example, I can create that. I can circle something. Under the draw, you can also do arrows. So for example, I can do this, and I can create one for that. So that is the annotation tool. To get to the whiteboard, you go back to the new share. When you click on that, now you have an option here for whiteboard. You click share, and that just gives you a blank white canvas, and everything, the annotation tool works the same. I have my draw tool, I have my thickness, and I could just start to draw. Maybe you're doing some math problems or writing a sentence with the class. You can use the text also to type. You can change the color, bold, italic, everything is the same as it was if you're using the annotation tool. You can manipulate the text box. You can clear all your drawings and viewer drawings here, and then there is a save button that saves what you have on the whiteboard. Maybe you want to revisit it on another time. But that is the annotation and whiteboard feature in Zoom. In this section, I'm going to be showing you how to get your cell phone and use it as a document camera. It might require some hardware. Here I have a tripod, and I have a little clamp here that holds my cell phone. But really, you just need to find a way to stabilize your phone or whatever it is you're using as your document cam to face your desk or whatever it is that you're doing. In my case, I have this tripod, and then I just move it here close to my desk, aim it down, and there I have my document cam. And how to get that is really what I'm doing is I'm here on my laptop on Zoom, but then I invited myself using the Zoom app on my cell phone. So you have to download the Zoom app on your phone and just email yourself the meeting code and then just log on. So now right here, if you notice, I have two versions of myself, one on the computer and one on my cell phone. And I have the cell phone camera pointed at my desk, and now have the document camera. Here's a better view, right? And you can use the pinch to zoom on your cell phone to zoom in. You can zoom out. But also another option is if you have the document camera that you use in the classroom, those little red ones with the little gooseneck, those are USB cameras. So you can technically plug it up to your laptop, and down below here, where you have the video options, you click on the little arrow, you can toggle between all your camera sources. So if you have one of those document cameras plugged in USB, that is where you'll find it. Another option that's built into Zoom, if you're using a iPad or iPhone, if you click share screen, there is an option here to share your iPhone or iPad, and it kind of connects using your Wi-Fi at home to your tablet or your phone, and it's going to mirror whatever's on your screen. So you can technically just open up the camera app on your iPad or iPhone, and it'll mirror that, and you can just point your phone or tablet onto your desk, and it works that way also. And this feature also work if you want to share maybe an app that you have on your iPad. You click on that, click share, and everything will sync up, and it should work the same way. But that is the quick and easiest way to get Zoom to be a document camera. If you want some information on where to find a tripod or the little clamp, just let me know, and I can email you all the links to that. So in this section, I'm going to be talking about breakout rooms. And what a breakout room is if you're creating a separate room within your main Zoom session that you can assign students to go to with another teacher. And when they are done, they can come back to the main session. And this is incredibly useful if a specialist comes into your room to work with a group of students. You can create different breakout rooms, and they can go to that room. You can communicate with all your breakout rooms in one simple little text, but then they can come back when they're done. And the way you create one is down below next to the green share button and the record button, there is breakout rooms. Click on that and you have this option here. Right now it says assign 2 participants into 2 rooms because I have 2 other people in my room. And here I can create as many breakout rooms as I need. But for right now I'm just going to do 1. And then you have automatically or manually. If you click on automatically, it'll take everybody in your room, your main session, and break them out into how many breakout rooms you create. But if you click on manually, you can individually assign students. So if I click on create room, I have another window that pops up. Here I have the name of the breakout room, and you can rename it to whatever you like. Maybe this is my reading group, my math group, whatever it is. And here under assign, I should have a list of all the participants that are in my main session. And here, I can click on the students that I want to assign to this breakout room. When you click on the open all rooms, that's when it sends an invitation to those students. So the student should see the host is inviting you to join the breakout room, and it has the name of the breakout room. And then you would have to instruct your students to click on join, and when they click on join, you should see a little notification here in green that student made it to that breakout room. One thing you can do is communicate with all the breakout rooms that you have created. So you can't use the normal chat found down below to communicate with all your breakout rooms. You have to go to the breakout button, and here you'll see an option that says broadcast a message to all. You click on that. And here you can type, I'm done with my main session. You can have your group come in, or you can communicate with all the teachers in the different breakout rooms. When you close all the rooms, let's say you're done with the breakout room and you want all the kids to come back. When you click on this button, it gives all the breakout rooms 60 seconds to come back to your main session. And if they don't do it, then after the 60 seconds has passed, it'll force them to the main session. So right now when I clicked on close all the rooms, the students should get a notification to go back, and they can just manually click, and they should all come back to my main session. And that is the breakout rooms. In this section, I'm going to be talking about the Spotlight video and a few sort of daily routines and features and tips that I learned during summer school. The Spotlight video is really, really important because, as you can tell right now, I am front and center and large. But I also want to make sure that everyone in my classroom is seeing the same thing that I am doing. And if you sort of remember, sometimes we're in a meeting and there's a lot of people, maybe like if you have 15 students or 18 people, it usually looks like the gallery view and everything looks smaller and smaller and smaller as more people enter your room. If you have a speaker, like let's say the teacher, then that video is really small. So if you're trying to show something to the students, they're not going to see it. They're not going to see it as good as they can. So that's where the spotlight video comes into play. So before, what I would do if it was just me, I would click on the speaker view, and then I could see the speaker very large. But this doesn't work with everybody inside the Zoom meeting. This is just for me. I'm not controlling everybody. But if I spotlight video, let's say I want to spotlight my document cam, that's important. If I hover over the camera that I want to spotlight, I see a blue box with 3 little dots. You click on that, scroll over to spotlight video, and you'll notice that you're in spotlight video because here on the top left it says cancel spotlight video. And so what this is doing, it is making this front and center and large to everybody inside your Zoom session. So they're seeing this and it's focused on it. And this is really important when you're doing the document cam. You want to make sure that all of your students are seeing this large and it's focused on that. Or maybe you're doing a lesson and you want them to focus on you, the teacher. Then I would hover over the camera where it's pointing to me, the teacher, spotlight video, and now I can continue with my lesson and anything that I want to show them. Maybe I have something that I'm drawing on a piece of paper or showing. Spotlighting video is huge and very important that you do, and it's something you have to remember to always do. A few things also as far as sharing, let's go back to sharing. This is part of the daily routines. When you're sharing, I'm going to click on share. You'll notice there's an option here to share computer sound and optimize screen sharing for video clip. These are very important features because if you want to share a video on YouTube or anywhere on your computer, if you don't have that share computer sound, the students will not hear any audio. They'll just see the video and it's just like basically a muted video. So you want to remember to always click on that because it does not default. Every time you open up a new Zoom session, it does not default on. So you have to remember to do that. If you forget to do that, let's say I share my screen. If you forget to do that, the way you find it is up here on the sharing options. You go to more and then click on share computer sound or optimize share for full screen video clip. And what that means, this optimize screen sharing for video clip, what that means is if you're watching a YouTube video, more than likely it's going to be a very choppy video, and if you're trying to show your students something with a lot of movement, it's not going to come out very clear and the engagement is not going to be there. But if you know ahead of time that you're going to be sharing a YouTube video or something like that, always want to click on both the sound and optimize screen sharing for video clip. This ensures that the frames per second of the video is higher and the video will be a lot smoother and kids can see all the little details of the movement or anything in the video. It's going to be a lot more engaging because it won't be choppy. Another thing to remember, let me stop sharing, is the teacher is always the host, or whoever made the Zoom meeting will be the host, and the host has the power to spotlight video and to share. But if you have a teacher that comes in, let's say a librarian or a specialist, you want to make them the host so they have the power to share screen and to spotlight video. And the way you do that is you hover to who you want to be the host. You click on the little option and then you select make host, and that makes sure that they have those options. Now, one thing to remember is that when that teacher is done being the host, that they give it back to the teacher. Otherwise, if they don't remember to do that and they leave your room, then the host could be given to any random person in your Zoom meeting. And this could be a student, and that could be a really tricky thing to get them to give you back the host. So that is one thing that you have to remember, is when you have teachers coming in, how to make them a host and ask them to give you back the host. One last daily routine or tip in Zoom is the Zoom feature in the Zoom. So when you start your class in the mornings, you have your kids coming in, and when the kids come in, they come in also with a lot of either background noise, or maybe somebody's microphone has some really nasty feedback. And so a lot of these little tiny things that make noise or loud noises can really be distracting for the entire class. So being able to Zoom your class while you're giving maybe the main lesson, or maybe you want them to focus on a video without any distractions, you want to be able to mute your students. And one quick way to do that in your participants panel is on the bottom where it says mute all and then unmute all. When you mute all, everybody is muted except for you, I think. But you can also hover over the person you want to unmute and click there. You can also hover over the person up here on the camera view by clicking on the little blue box with the 3 dots, and then click on mute, which should be the first one on top. But there is a feature in Zoom that you may have not been aware of, but you can see down below in your microphone options, audio settings. You'll notice right here on the bottom that's highlighted in blue, it says press and hold space key to temporarily unmute yourself. And so what that means is if you hold down the space key on your keyboard, it'll unmute yourself, you can speak, and then when you let go of the space bar, you're back to being muted. And this is actually pretty cool because you can have your students all muted so they can concentrate on the video or maybe your lesson. And then you can ask the class, okay, who can tell me this or who can answer that? And so you can instruct your students that when they want to speak, they can hold on to the space bar, speak, let go, and they'll go back to being muted. And you can tell right now here on the top, right now I am muted with the little red microphone with the cross, but when I hold on to the space bar, now I can speak. And I'll let go, I go back to being muted. So this is a really cool feature in Zoom, and it's one that you would probably want to show your kids on how to do. That way everyone is focused on what you're trying to teach. And that is sort of the daily routines that I can recall. If there's any other ones, I'll let you guys know. But what most importantly is, what you have to remember doing the synchronous learning is, when you're sharing something, make sure it is large and clear for everyone. Please consider the device that they're using. Also, remember to always share your screen audio. And if you forget, you can always add it on afterwards. Always remember to spotlight your video if you're doing any main lessons or you're using your document camera. Always remember that if you have another teacher come in, make them the host and remind them to give you back the host. That way you can continue on with your teaching. But I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to me and we can have a little private session where I can show you more of the features in more depth. But I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye-bye.